Hello, welcome to Mzansi Our Story. My name is Cody. If you're new here, you're very much welcome. So, I have sort of good news for you all, an update that finally looks like we have a competent person to look into the matter of six kids who have died about more than 2 weeks ago in South Africa in Naledi. I told you the story before and my view about some professional, including the environmental health and public safety official, the EFF person with that red staff thing overall that he was what he was saying, and some environmental health official who was interviewed and was saying that they could not find any poison of the kids that have died last year. Not this one, but the one from last year, because the one from last year we know for the fact that they died because of organophosphate poisoning. So he was saying that because their environmental health, they took the product from that alleged spaza shop, alleged snack, and then they pick up those products, they took them to the lab, and then they got the result from the lab, which showed that there was no contamination, and therefore that was the end of the story from last year. For when I had that story from him, and I realized that that's why there's so much poisoning, because you get one poison, you need to find the source. You don't stop until you find the source of it. So I didn't feel like they actually looked at it further enough. It felt like they didn't even scratch the surface at this point. They look very much incompetent. If you say to me, you after two or three kids died last year from organophosphate poisoning after eating an item from a spaza shop, a snack from the spaza shop, and then you go to this shop, you pick up these items, you take them to the lab, and they come up to be negative, so we have no contamination. And these snacks, the items that you pick up didn't have a batch number, didn't have expiry date, didn't have manufacturer's detail. How would you know for sure that you were testing the same thing? Yeah. How would you know? Without a batch number, you don't know. So Twitcher said they needed to have turned the place upside down. They needed to find the poison. They shouldn't have stopped. They should have searched everywhere and turned everything, any shop around that area, upside down until they found the poison, the source of this contamination, because that was very important that they do. You can't just say you pick up a few things, you sit around and you don't, because we know it's organophosphate. So how would the kids get exposed to organophosphate in the first place? See? So this was the task they were meant to do, but they came up and said they could not find it, and therefore the case was closed. That I felt very scared on behalf of South Africans, for you friends and family. I felt very scared on your behalf because I felt like these people were incompetent, and they still are incompetent, because we saw even with the EFF person with the red overall coming out and talking about how these people aren't compliant, they're not providing, they don't have any batch number, they have expiry date, yada yada. And just, I don't feel confident that these people know what they're doing. So I am glad to report now that Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, who is very competent and is a Minister of Health, formulated a team of experts. Invited a team of experts to go to this town, Naledi, and to turn it upside down, basically, and then test the suspect. It's a suspected product that they would think could be contaminated, and then provide him with some feedback. So let's listen to him.
And we altogether organized 114 officials. They went to Naledi since Monday. Since Monday last week. No, I'm getting confused. It's Friday today. Oh no, since Monday this week. They went into Naledi. We used to believe there are 80 spaza shops there, but they went through 84 spaza shops. the ones in which they got and examined, what were they doing? They were trained by NICD on how to look for this chemical.
So NICD is the National Institute of Communicable Disease in South Africa. So that's an institution that actually very good, and that's the one that told the world that there's Omicron. So that's the one. So these are the experts. They know what they're looking for. You know, very trained, highly competent.
Which we think is the one that is causing problems. How to go around searching for it. And they actually did so, and they finished the work yesterday. Today, they were just mopping up. But during the course of that work, or maybe let me give you statistics, the 84 spaza shops they visited, 42 of them are owned by foreign nationals. That's 49% of the spaza shops. But 43, which is 51%, are owned by South Africans. So we're not searching foreign nationals, or we're just searching whatever is a spaza shop. During that fair.
So as he said, they weren't just looking for foreign national owned spaza shop. So you know they didn't want to be accused of being xenophobic, Afrophobic. So they went and set every spaza shop, which is what they should have done last year. Anyway, let's listen.
They did confess that there is an illegal chemical which they buy from a mall in Johannesburg. They did say so. And 27 officials visited that mall, and they confiscated 1,456 grams of that chemical. And 4 people were arrested. 1 man and 3 women. They were arrested for that activity, but 2 of them, in terms of the laws of the country, were given bail of 2,000. The others are still in custody.
So from that video, what he just said is that they, after that, completing all that, the people confirmed that they were buying illegal chemicals, and they actually told the authorities where those chemicals were, and they raided the place. Subsequently, 4 people were arrested, 2 are still in custody, 2 are on bail. That's the summary of all of this. See, when you do a proper investigation, Gauteng province, you guys there are useless actually. When you do a proper investigation, you should have gone there. That's your environmental health stuff. You know, what do you do? Just picking up a few items from the shop, it's not an investigation when you don't know the batch number, when you don't know, haven't found the source, That's why I'm so worried for you all. I'm so glad there's somebody who is competent enough to actually realize that this is really serious. And I think it's because of the threat of the actions of South Africans that were threatening government to take them to court as a result of this. And I think that's probably still on the cards, because there's a lot of failure here. These 2 kids, actually 6 kids, shouldn't have died, because this should have been caught up last year. You should have investigated this when the first child died of this poison. When the first child died, is up to 50 of them have died so far that we know of. How about those we don't even know? And that is just one province, because they're good at taking the data. Some provinces aren't really that well equipped to have enough sufficient data to be able to provide this data to the department. So it is really important. It matters for people you put in this role that are very critical for your health, for your well-being, for national security. You just cannot put every Tom, Dick, and Harry to cook your food, to do all the stuff. The restaurant in South Africa, a lot of them hire these illegal migrants. I actually even wonder that, when you go there, what type of food you're eating at this point. When you're eating. Probably a holiday from hell, if you ask me. See, these things have consequences. They have huge consequences. You really have to be proud and patriotic about your country. just cannot allow people to just come around and run rampant in your country in the name of human rights and all of that. It is up to the government to make sure that the laws and everything in the country aren't misused. At this point, these people are making joke of migration, border security, uh, business, food safety, bylaws. They're just making a mockery of South Africa. That's why they so feel empowered and you can see them, all of them on YouTube. They feel really much empowered to say the things they're saying because they know you guys are passive. You're not going to be able to act appropriately, acting appropriately by enforcing the law. That's what I mean, acting appropriately for these officials. Why? Allowing these people to do this. Okay? This is horrible. This everything that we're seeing now, it is the cause of lawlessness of borderless ANC. Because they've engaged with borderless ANC. They've just been so smart not to say it. They're not EFF. They haven't said it. But what they've done, they've removed the funding. They've removed the funding. You can see that. Dr. Leon Schreiber did say that they just haven't got enough funding. So your role now is to look at that funding, whether there's an increase in funding. There's actually a priority to prevention of these entries, of these illegal entries into South Africa. And then deal with these ones who are there illegally. Already have a tragedy, even a few days ago, a tragedy of a child, a murder of a young child. That tragedy is still another tragedy for another illegal migrants, Mozambican. That one as well, 6-year-old, brutal murder. So this huge, and then when they talk about it, they talk as if you are committing these crimes. But when you look at the statistics, a lot of migrants are very represented in those statistics. And I was looking at the other idiot who was reading the statistics and saying, oh, no, because there's so many, 100 and something South African more than whatever the nationality of the people there. But if there are 200 South Africans committed crime, how many South Africans live in who are citizens? 200 over 60.9 million. What is the statistics? What is the percentage? What is the percentage? You see? So if you have about 400,000 of a nationality, say Mozambicans, whatever nationality, as an example, you have 400,000 of them living in South Africa. If you have 70 or 80 of them, so you say, oh, they're less than what South Africa, the 150 South Africans, but there's 400,000 of them. So the percentage is higher. See, they commit more crimes than they are South Africans. That's the statistic. Illegal migrants are more represented in crime, in prison, in South Africa than they are South Africans, because there are about 60.9 million South Africans. This is maths, okay? You don't look at just the raw data number and say, oh, there's 150 South Africans who committed crime. There's about 90 this country's crime. Say, as an example, you can say, oh, Mozambique, 90 Mozambique committed crime, and there are about 150 South Africans who committed crime. Then South Africans commit more crimes. That shows me that you just didn't go to school. You didn't finish school. You missed the class, the maths class. Okay? You missed the maths class. That's not how we look at it. Okay? You gotta look at how many South Africans, how many foreign nationals of that group in that country, and then you divide the number of crimes divided by the people, the total of the group. Multiply that by 100, get your percentage. And if there's about 4% of the population, 4% of certain group of migrants in South Africa, and there is about Many of them, about 80% of them you're found in prison. That's huge. That's huge. So you all can really clearly see the statistics now, where it's showing. So I'm so glad that they released this crime statistics in South Africa, so you can go and look at it and do your numbers and practice your maths if you've forgotten about it. So that's okay. You know, maths has been made to be so difficult for many people. I don't blame you, but you got to apply it to understand it. Okay. All right, so I'm not going to go through this whole video of Dr. Aaron Mituleti. All I can say, thank God, they now know where the source of these chemicals, where it is, and they don't want to name what chemical is it, because until the investigation is finished. So let's listen to the last little clip, and then I'll wrap this one up for you.
It's in Johannesburg Central Prison. So I keep on saying chemical because I don't want the irresponsibility of naming something. Now, I know that we are under pressure from both of you and the media and the public that we are doing nothing while people are dying. We are under that pressure. But some of us have done postmortems before. We are resisting the temptation. Actually, I phoned the minister yesterday with respect, because I was worried when the commissioner started naming a chemical, because it was found in somebody's stomach. In postmortems, you don't just do that. You don't just find something in a human being and rush and make a conclusion. It might be dangerous. So what are we doing? As I'm speaking here, the NICD brought together experts. And who are the experts? Chemical pathologists are there, forensic pathologists are there, epidemiologists are there, and some clinicians who specifically specialize in symptoms and signs of somebody who has been chemically poisoned. They are all there. They have got this work, these swabs that were taken there, which have been sent to laboratories now as I'm talking. But the files of the children who have died, they are scrutinizing all those things, and they are scrutinizing the postmortem results to try and make out exactly what is that which we are dealing with. The issue of repackaging of goods to change expiry date is one of the issues that we have marked. We are going to look for it, and I'll tell you why. And the issue of shop owners using some chemicals and all that, I've already told you that at least there are those who confessed about one and went to that mall in Johannesburg and it was found. But we'll give you further details after this analysis by experts, as I've said. The last thing I want to mention to you is this issue of spaza shops. There is a belief that we haven't been doing anything for a long time. This issue was raised for the first time to me in August 2022, or officially, because people used to talk about it. It was officially raised by traditional leaders, because when I was a Minister of Home Affairs used to have 100 trucks that move around villages to get people take IDs, birth certificates, and all that. And I found that many villagers did not understand these issues. I had to go out with the trucks, and we've just increased the trucks by 120% the remaining. In every village I arrived, they said the traditional leader is calling you. When I go to the traditional crowd, they ask me about these things. What is the government saying about this? We see spaza shops all over, run by people we don't know, who did not even report to us that they are here. Many of them complained. Then I said, this issue needs a solution. In February 2023, that's last year, when the president opened the House of Traditional Leaders, we knew that many traditional leaders would be there contra lesa. I then took that opportunity. I invited the Minister of Culture, the Minister of Small Business Development, and Salga. I said, let's sit with the traditional leaders to listen to this problem. We listened. At the end of the day, we found that there is cross lines about who is responsible for what in South Africa. For instance, many people, if they find something wrong being done by a foreign national, it's Home Affairs. Anything international urinating in the center of town. Home Affairs.
Oh, South Africans. You're blaming Home Affairs for finding foreign national urinating on the street. There's a lot of them doing that. Yeah, open defecation, which is not something South Africans do, but there's a lot of them doing that. So you're blaming Home Affairs that brought these people. You can understand why South Africans are blaming Home Affairs. You brought these people, you allow them in the country. Anything wrong they do, you're responsible. Even when they do open defecation, urinating in public, you're responsible. Yeah. Laughter is the best medicine, honestly. This one. Just laughing, but it's really serious, guys.
Whether it's invading land, Home Affairs.
Yes, at this stage, this is not a joke because, yeah, we know that the kids have died. And if they had taken this thing serious last year, they wouldn't be here. That's why they are at 40%, the ANC. That Aaron Motsoaledi is a very competent minister, but he's in the wrong party and just ANC just not performing. And at the time, what he's talking about, he was not a minister of health anyway. He was in the minister of home affairs. That's why he was saying people were complaining about issues that weren't his responsibility at that time. That was last year. Now he's back into home affairs, into health as the minister of health. However, the people, it just tells you that every time you change a minister, there is no handover. You can see now even with Home Affairs. What Leon Schreiber is doing there is something new and turning place upside down. There's no continuity. Stuff about, really the border and changing the law, migration law is being put somewhere, getting dust, that is going to be a problem moving forward for all of them, even those parties that are in the GNU. We are not going to deliver on this. You actually been shown to be actually not patriotic about South Africans. This is it's a test for you all. It's a test. This death of these kids, it's a test. You party that are caring are showing that they actually care about the safety and the security and health and well-being of South Africans. These are the party that are going to see themselves winning in the next election. That's all I'm going to say to it. And this story, obviously, the investigation is still continuing. There were reports of people saying that the kids, they found carbamate in the blood, but those have not substantiated those reports. And as the minister said, they're still investigating. So we're not going to speculate, because I did sort of alluded last time when we were speculating what may have caused this death, which was one of them was carbamate, but mainly organophosphate was where I was leaning, but they both cause the same symptoms anyway. But yeah, so we're going to wait for the official statement about what is the cause. Now we know the source. This is poison, chemicals. These are chemicals. It's not food poison. This is a chemical that these kids died of. Chemical. So the investigation must continue. And I would like to see, I don't want to see them trying to protect these council. Those council who are in Naledi, they are useless. If you got a council there, they are useless. Do not vote for any party that is represented by those council. Got council like that, because they're responsible for enforcing bylaw. They're responsible for regulating this spaza shop, for registration. Like I said, if you see a shop that is there, that is just popping up everywhere, and you don't know what's going on, and you're the council, the buck stop with you. If you're a citizen or you live in that community, if you see something, you need to go to the council. The council are responsible. If they don't deal with it, If they don't deal with it, don't vote for them. There are other parties you can vote for. Don't vote for this crap. This incompetence is killing people. It's killing young kids in all parts, that criminality, poisoning, all of murder, all of this stuff you sing around. So do not go and put a vote on something that is so wrong. They have to show that they are there to govern. They are there for you. First of all, they are minister for you. They are counsel for you. The idea that they think they are counsel for the foreigners, for the people that are outside. Here's the president out there advocating for other people, but he hasn't said a word about you, about your kids, about your safety, about your security. That's something you want to think about. You just cannot have these idiots being trying to tell you otherwise and convince you. These days you can learn these things. You can learn these things online. You can check what others think. But, as always, they talk about it as if definitely they know stuff, but they just bluffing. They're just telling lies. They say it like, they're confidently. The most dangerous thing is a person who will tell you lie and be confident about telling you a lie. They just, that is the person you should be really worried about, They just look like seriously and, confidently. Yeah, that is a scammer. Run fast, okay? Fast. Thank you guys for listening. If you're new here, please consider subscribing if you're benefiting to the content, and press the bell and the like button so you know when I post a new video. And thank you. Have a lovely night. Bye for now.